So I didn't know what to do with this space, so I did plant a couple flowers in here. We're gonna rip them back out today and go plant them somewhere else because this is where I'm gonna put a little pond. And I am so excited. So I spent some time today, I spent a couple of hours today actually looking for pond liners, stock pots, um, something that I could use um, that wasn't too small but it wasn't too big. And I feel like I'm Goldilocks. I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything that I felt was big enough but not too big. And I really didn't want to spend a lot of money on this. And I'm very nervous with the pond that it's going to just be a mosquito breeding grounds. I'm nervous that it's just going to produce a lot of algae and it's going to be ugly. So I'm really looking to make this as an ecosystem and really work hard on making it so that this doesn't just become an algae-filled mess. Um, so I need to continue to do more research. I found on Amazon a solar fountain that I'm going to get. It's $20, and because I don't have electricity down here, it'll be a solar fountain that at least keep the water moving and circulated, which I hope will also help cut down the algae. Number one, and number two, I do want to put fish in here, so I want to get a good ecosystem going, and then I'm hoping to go get a couple of goldfish and actually put goldfish in here. I think that would be awesome. I do have cats, and there are a lot of stray cats in this neighborhood, so I'm not quite sure how that's gonna go, but I'm really hoping that I can have this be a little goldfish pond. And I think that would be number one. I think that would be so striking when you walk under the art chair. And number two, I think as you're sitting here, because I do like to sit down here and read my book or just kind of relax, I think that would be such a nice thing to have. I'm really excited with this idea. So today we're gonna get started working on it. I haven't ordered anything. My intention here is because I couldn't find a pond liner or anything that fit the space that I thought I would like, I'm actually going to build one myself. So up along with the house, the previous owners had built like this rock wall that they just filled with mulch basically. Um, and it's crumbling. It's basically useless. It's not a retaining wall. I was actually advised when I bought the house to move it away from the house because it just trapped in moisture and letting moisture leak into the house. Um, I don't actually think it's happened. I've checked that wall. That wall is dry, but I still don't use this raised bed area for anything. So my intention is to use those rocks to build up a area. So I'm going to dig out the few plants that I have in here. I'm going to transplant them, and then I am going to dig down into the soil because this is good soil here, and I want to transfer all of this soil somewhere into one of my other beds so it actually gets used and doesn't just go to waste. I don't know what bed to put it in, but we'll find a spot. And then I'm going to empty this out, build it up on all its sides with rocks, and then we're going to get a pond liner, and then we'll get this project moving. So it's going to be a couple of day project, but I'm really excited. I'm thinking that if I can get this to actually work and to create this ecosystem where I don't have an algae buildup and I kind of have it working in symbiosis with itself, I'm hoping that this will be a really fun project. On the plus side, we're going to keep this as cheap as possible. I found a pond liner for the size that I want off of Amazon. I think I found it for $15. I think that's the price I found. We're going to use rocks we already have. We're going to need to buy sand and gravel, and we're going to need to buy the plants. So that's basically all we're going to have to buy, I think. So I think that's going to be a fun experiment. If this doesn't work, then I'm not actually out a lot of money. I'm out a pond liner, and I don't know what to do with that. I'm sure I can figure something to do with that. Um, so I think it's going to be a fun experiment, and we'll see what happens. It's early in the season, so that's why I really want to get started on this now. I just came up with this idea today, and we're already jumping on board because I really want to get this started. So it has like the whole season to kind of get established, and hopefully I have a successful pond. So stay tuned. It's going to be I think, a long video. So I'm going to get started now, moving some plants out and digging this puppy out.
Hi friends. So the whole reason I wanted to get rid of this bed is a raised bed that I'd actually gotten from my Pop-Pop's barn. It was some sort of feed grain bin. All of these raised beds actually stacked on top of each other, and you can see the bed at the top right-hand corner. I pulled it out. It had termites really bad. And I needed to pull it out last year, and I just, laziness sometimes gets me and it wins. So I knew I wanted to get rid of this bed, and I wanted something artsy here, and I really struggled with what I wanted to put here. I kind of wanted like a focal feature. I thought about doing like a fountain. I don't have electric or water down here, so I couldn't do that, and they were really expensive. So I couldn't figure out like what I wanted to do in this space. I just knew kind of what I wanted, but I didn't know like what the actual thing was. So I'm obsessed with this. Sorry, but this is so shaky. I think I was tired, but I'm obsessed with how this looks. I think it looks fantastic. I think it's going to be a great focal feature.
An hour's worth of work, and it looks so good. I'm so excited. Whether it's a function pond or not, yet remains to be seen. But I think this actually looks super, super awesome. And I dream about my future farm all the time. Like I'm a total daydreamer, and I always knew I wanted my future farm beds, ideally, to be stone like this. Like have the entire beds be stone like this. And this is confirmed that 1,000-fold. I think this looks so fantastic, and I 1,000% want all of my beds to be made out of this stone. So I think that's exciting. So I'm holding Miss Fig's water cup right now. Um, so you notice I don't have anything here yet along this wall. What I'm going to do is just get some flat bricks and I think stand them up that way and kind of build them up in some sort of way. I have a lot of smaller rocks left, but I'm definitely going through the bigger ones. Like I'm about done with the bigger ones, so I think that's okay. I don't want to waste rocks. I don't honestly want to make it smaller. By adding the rocks on that side, it would creep in and make the pond smaller. But I am loving this. Look at this. You walk through the gate under the green bean arch, and there's the pond. Guys, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna go in and order the pond liner, which I think is like $15 because I'm getting such a small one. And then we get to put it in. So let's see how this goes. Hi friends, it's the next day, or it's a couple, I think it's 2 days later technically. But we are going to see if we can't finish this pond today. I don't have any plans yet. I think I'm going to try to see if I can't find some on Etsy. There is a pond place I know of, but it's an hour and a half away from here. It's where we went over the weekend. And so I'm so annoyed I didn't buy anything then. I honestly don't really feel like running back up there. So we may go back up there this weekend if we can't find anything on Etsy, but I'm going to see if I can't find some stuff on Etsy. But for right now, I want to see, I got the pond liner today. I want to see if I can't get this thing filled up and see if it'll hold water. I think that's the first goal. See if it'll hold water. Once I know it'll hold water, then we'll start looking for some plants. So it's actually pretty deep. I'm really bad at measurements. I should actually measure this. I'm not going to because I don't have my tape measure. But if we look, it comes up just below my knee. If that's how we're going to measure. It comes up just below my knee. And I am 5'7". So it's what, 2 feet deep? Something like that. So for a small goldfish pond, I think that'll be perfect. The only thing I'm not super happy about, and I can't help it, is everything I've read says it takes about a year for a pond to come into itself. So the first year it's green and mucky, and then that next year is when it kind of finds an ecosystem. So I'm expecting that, but I'm hoping that that's not going to happen.
So I don't actually know why I said that because it is fully going to turn green. I need it to turn green in order for it to build an ecosystem. But I'm not looking forward to it because it's not going to be pretty. Right now it's still clear and pretty. Um, and I wish I could just get it to stay that way. I had no idea what I was doing here, as you can tell, and I do no research, I do no planning, and I'm not allowed to do DIY projects anymore, despite me doing this. I have a rule when it comes to my house. I can't do DIY projects anymore because I really cut the corners. That 100% should have been leveled out for those brick. We don't do that here. So I did think it was funny that I've made the rule for myself. I no longer do DIY projects because I don't do them correctly. And somehow, I guess it only applies to the house. It does not apply to the garden. I also should have measured this pond before I bought the pond liner. There was a smaller option, but I was afraid it was going to be too small. And now I'm like, Caitlin, that was ridiculous because you clearly could have gone with a much, much smaller liner. So we cut it and it's just fine. And again, as you see, I'm just cutting. I am not, luckily it worked out, and normally it does work out for me, but I'm not like measuring, I'm not making sure that this is gonna fit. I just start chopping away at it, which is on par with my personality. So I had the plan of what I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of put the liner in and build the liner into the rock so you wouldn't be able to see that. And I actually, at the end, it does turn out. My pond does hold water, and I got it to work. But clearly, I had no idea what I was doing. And as I fold it, you can see that I'm definitely given places for water to go. I will say, for someone that did no research on this and had no idea what I was doing, it was only probably 20 minutes of trying to figure out where the leak was in my pond, where I didn't build it up enough. So I don't think for a first go around, I don't think I actually did too bad. My pond still has water in it today. It's not leaking. So I'm feeling pretty good about whatever skills you call this. I feel pretty good about these skills. But this is basically my life, just trying to make something work and figure it out until it does. So something I did work because, like I said, I still have a pond and it still has water in it. And now I'm watching this back and I'm like trying to mentally tell myself, like, Caitlin, you're leaving a space for water to get out. Caitlin, that's too low. Caitlin, you gotta build it back up. I obviously can't go back in time and tell myself this, but if I ever had to build a second pond, I now have more knowledge. Like right there, that is not going to work. That does not work, and that lets all the water out as soon as it gets to that point in the pond. But it was very much as a trial and error, and like I said, it worked out fine. And it's right about here when I'm like starting to possibly regret starting this project. I remember kind of pausing and looking at it, being like, I have no idea what I'm doing. What if this is a huge disaster? Why am I trying to do this? So I just think it's funny. And then I had to be like, okay, with Caitlin, we've started this, we have to finish it. This is kind of what I wanted to do with the liner, is to put it in the rocks and build the rocks up on top of it and kind of hide the liner within the rocks. This is, for the most part, basically what happens. There is a little area here at the back of the pond where I think I just have, the ground is too uneven that I didn't have enough liner to go under the rocks for the height of the pond in the front. So I have to stick, the liner can't go under the rocks. It just kind of stands up in the pond. And I do have rocks that cover it so you don't see it. But it was a little thing I had to do just because there is a slope to the pond. So the back end is not as high as the front end. But we were able to MacGyver that and it works fine. And I don't think you can tell. I just know because I built it, but I don't think you can tell. Everything I did, the very small amount of research that I did, everything said to wash the gravel before you put it in your pond just to get all that dust off. And this gravel was so dirty. So I tried to use this flower bucket that I kind of use as like a colander for the gravel. That didn't work. I ended up then trying to just wash it in the big 5-gallon bucket. That didn't work. So then we actually just gave up, threw it in the pond, and said we'll figure it out later. And I think actually everything went really well with this whole project. You're going to see in a second the water is incredibly dirty, but I kind of just took that bucket, kind of scooped out the dirt, and was able, because it all rose to the surface, so I was able to get the dirt out. I kind of let the pond overflow a little bit, and I think as I was trying to figure out where the leaks were, that also allowed a lot of the dirt to kind of get washed out of the pond as well.
Okay, so things have gone a little sideways. I realized that this bucket is a rock sifter bucket. So this gravel is gorgeous gravel. It's left over from when I put in my patio. And it is the kind of gravel, I don't know what it's called, but it's the kind of gravel that when it gets wet, it changes colors. So when it's dry, it's like a typical gray color. And then when it's wet, it gets like beautiful purples and browns and really, really pretty. So I use this gravel, number one, to save money. Two, I thought maybe you could possibly see the gravel at the bottom of the pond. But the little bit of research that I've done, all of it said I needed to wash the gravel first. Well, the gravel has been sitting in my garage for 3 years. So not only was it a little dusty, it was a lot dirty. A pot of soil has fallen into the drum of gravel. Like, I don't know how this was going to get clean. So my intention right now is to let it fill up and maybe overflow and see if I can get some of that dirt, kind of, because the dirt's floating on the surface, but we might have just found a flaw, so hold on. So all that dirt is just floating on the surface, but back in there it's just running. So I have an issue. Okay, so this was 100% a me problem. I only built the bricks up that high for some stupid reason. If you come over here, I definitely can't have it that low, because if you come over here, you can still see a lot of my liner, and I want all of that to be covered. So let's try to fix it. Okay, I think I got it this time. Maybe. It's definitely on a slope. Things I didn't know. Things I didn't think to know. And again, like, I should do research before I do things. One, that's not how I roll. And two, I research as I go. I actually had told myself I'm not allowed to do DIY projects anymore. Like, I know this because I don't do them right, and I just kind of get them done and get them done. But I don't think this is that bad. So it is holding water. The only problem that I now see that I don't know how to correct is, oh, it's leaking right over there, and it's not going to get as high as the tarp I have over here. So let's fix that problem real quick.
This is the problem I was talking about earlier, that I had enough tarp. There's more liner on the opposite side, but now that I filled it with water and gravel, I'm not obviously pulling it back over. And this works just fine. So I kind of just was able to stand it up, and I played with this for a little bit. I'm not going to show you the whole thing because this was probably 10 to 15 minutes that I played with this. We arranged the rocks, took the rocks back down. But ultimately, I ended up leaving that liner standing up and hiding the edge of the liner with the rock. So you're not actually able to see it anymore. And I think just with the little bit of a slope that this pond had, I wouldn't have been able to tuck the liner under the rocks anyway. I think it would have made the outside surface, the outside of the pond, it would have made it uneven. So I think what actually ended up happening, I think is best case scenario. Again, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think it worked out well. So trying to find all these little flaws in this pond, it took me about 20-25 minutes or so. Wasn't too much, but I just kind of followed where the water was running, listened for the sounds of the trickling, and kind of just started tearing rocks away and rebuilding where needed. So my first point was I wanted to get it to hold water and not leak, and then I'm going to go back in and fix the rocks and make the rocks more sturdy, make sure the rocks are hide in the liner, make sure it looks good. In this area, I actually spent a couple of minutes trying to find this leak. I heard it clear as day. I could hear this water running, but I couldn't see anything. And what actually had happened was, because the pond liner was a rectangle and my pond is an oval, I had to fold the liner in order to get it to fit into this shape. And when I made that fold, it created a crevice where water could escape.
Okay, let's discuss. Maybe. I'm filling her up again. She's actually filling up really fast. I have it filling up again. And let's fill up and then let's talk. Okay, guys. It is holding water. It's holding water. And it goes the whole way to the top. Look at that. Let's do a full 360. The back needs some work. I think that's okay. Is it pretty? No. But will I plant tall things in here that will hide that? Yes. So in this bed right now is kale, and kale will 100% hide that and look fantastic. And then I will just know moving forward that this bed just needs to have something tall and green in it to act kind of as a backdrop for this pond. I built a pond. I mean, I'm pretty impressed. I think it looks pretty cool. I had to go turn the hose off. So I walked down the steps for the first time and saw it. And good. Look at this. Okay, it doesn't show up as good on camera. But imagine my wonky gate, that arbor just filled with green beans. And you can see the reflection of the pond. The pond looks so nice. Again, it's really not showing up good on camera, but it looks so cool. Look at that. And I am loving the reflection of it. I am so excited. So it does have some dirt in it. It's honestly, it is almost clear. I don't know if you can see because of the reflection, but it has some dirt on it. So we're gonna see if we can't get that dirt to come out. Can you see the pond liner? Yes. Would you see that in a professional pond liner? I'm willing to say no, but girl, I don't care. I have a pond. It actually is pretty darn clear. So I think kind of once I let everything settle, it'll go clear. So I spent my entire evening doing this, which honestly isn't bad. I didn't get home until and get started so closer to 6. And right now, oh my god, no. I get home at like 5:40. It's 7:15. So it's only been about an hour and a half. And then I spent probably 45 minutes on it the other day. So that's not bad. Let's go over the costs. Pond. The liner cost me $15, and I did get that way bigger than I needed to. They did have one size small. They didn't have a ton of sizes. They did have I hear the tiniest drizzle. Let's see if we can't find that quick. Okay, I think I fixed that. But we'll see if tomorrow morning I still have water in this pond. I don't have any plants for it yet, and I kind of just want to see if I can get it to hold water first. But I'm going to go inside, look on Etsy today, and see if I can't find some water plants that I can have shipped here. I'm looking for just a couple of lilies and something tall and pretty. So I need to do my research, figure out what I want, and then I'm going to go ahead and get that. So cost. So like I said, I got a bigger liner than I needed to. It's $15. They did have a smaller one for $12, which would have worked just fine. But now I have extra liner that I could put it in a pond somewhere else. So just saying. The rocks all came from my property, so they were free. The gravel, everything. I did buy those bricks that I used on the back end. They ended up being $7 for 14. And I bought sand. I ended up having to buy paper sand. I couldn't find just regular like play sand, so the paper sand was $5. And then I think I guess you don't need a pump, but I wanted something to have moving water because I thought that would help with like algae, and I thought that'd help with everything. So I got a solar fountain, and this was $14, $19. Oh Lord, oh Lord, this looks complicated. So I just got that out of the box. And it actually comes with different like fountain settings. So it hasn't charged at all. So that's what it came with out of the box, that little charge. And I have my solar panel right there. Just for now, we're gonna see how this puppy works. So it looks like it's been in the pond for 30 seconds. So it looks like it's not gonna be a continuous fountain. It's gonna be like spurts. And we'll see how we feel about that. I guess it's probably better than nothing. And it did come with so many other different spray heads, different sizes, that we could really kind of play up the different sprays we want to do. So I think I'm going to end this video here. We got a pond built, friends. We built a pond. I'm so excited. It seems to be holding water really, really well. So stay tuned. Next, we're going to buy some plants, and then we're going to kind of see if we can't get a good ecosystem going in here, and then we'll add in some goldfish. So stay tuned, friends. This is so exciting. Bye, friends. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.